Dun dun dun! Real talk. It's spelled with 2 E's like a movie reel.
Welcome to Real Talk. Here we are, your hosts, Trevor and Sheema. I'm Jordan. Welcome to the show. This is our 6th episode, and today we're going to be discussing many topics. But first, we have our screenplay, as usual. Today, per Sheema, take it.
Alright, so I got this idea the other day, like last week or something. I think I was talking to some friends, and we were talking about the 23andMe, and how, like, you know, basically when you buy that service or that product, you're like selling your DNA to these like companies, and like you don't know what the fuck they're doing with your DNA, right? Mm-hmm. So this is my screenplay idea.
Your screenplay idea is to be 23andMe?
Yeah. So screenplay idea is it's centered on the main character. I haven't thought about whether they're male or female or whatever, but main character decides
I think you meant to say identify as.
Shut up. They decide
It's 2019, Sheema.
They decide they want to do this ancestry test thing, you know, because everyone's doing it. It's a hot thing to do. So they send in their sample, and the company gets their DNA, and they, you know, see their ancestry, and everything's cool. Everything's like great. They're like, find out they're like 0.2% Ashkenazi Jew.
Dude, that's literally I'm literally 0.2% Ashkenazi Jew. That's literally me.
And then, but then shit starts getting weird, because they find out that people are starting to become, going to these like different facilities and coming out like with different abilities and different like different traits and like better improved traits.
People that...
This is the show Heroes.
What do you mean? I've never seen it.
That's like, they have like, they did like the DNA whole angle for like having superpowers. Like there was the guy trying to genetically analyze people for never mind, keep going.
Well,
really good show.
Never seen Heroes, but all I can say is that, so anyway, then people start doing some digging around, and then you find out that basically these like giant companies, like DNA companies, have been manipulating, you know, the DNA sequences of these of their clientele.
It's literally
and dude, I swear to fucking God,
like season 3 of Heroes.
I swear to God, I've never seen Heroes in my entire life.
It sounds like Kyle XY, actually.
It's also probably like a really like typical Hollywood trope, I think.
No, keep going.
Anyway, so then this is where it gets interesting. So all the companies are doing this. They're using really rich people who are using this service are like going in and paying for these like extra services where they get their DNA altered, and then they like have that somehow transplanted in them, and they can have these like awesome cool traits. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so
indubitably.
And so all of a sudden, everyone's like they're on the limitless drug. Like it's like crazy. Everyone's like super versions of themselves.
Wait, can I rant for like 2 seconds about that?
Go for it.
The limitless drug. How, like, imagine if you could activate every neuron in your brain at once.
You would have a
fucking seizure. Okay, keep going. It's literally a seizure. Okay, keep going.
Maybe, we've never experienced. I mean, I've never experienced a seizure before. I don't know if you guys have, but what if, like,
dude, if it cures depression, then maybe
that's
it's
what I'm saying.
Cool.
Like, maybe there's something
there.
Dude.
According to definitely non-corporate interests that push that on us. You know what I mean? So
things start getting interesting, right? Then you start getting these kind of like black market ancestry things, people popping up, and now they're using their technology for like now they're creating this like class war by like making the poor people really strong and powerful and amazing, and then like they start turning against all the really rich people in society. Then
how can they afford it?
How can they afford it? No, it's just like really smart people. So they steal the shit. They steal equipment.
They steal the CRISPR?
They steal the CRISPR. They like go to all the actual like legit facilities and they like steal their shit. It's kind of like a Robin Hood type situation, like steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Is there like a main character that's like the Robin Hood in this scenario?
Yeah, probably.
Like,
I haven't thought about
it. People?
Yeah, it's probably picture like a.
It's Justin Timberlake from that movie where how much time you have left to live is on your forearm. And Olivia Wilde is his mom for some reason.
Because this is supposed to be like Back in Time or something.
Something like that.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Or Justin Timberlake from Horrible Bosses when he's like, I hate slavery. I hate slavery so much. If I could go back in time and delete slavery, I'd so do it. Anyways.
I like that's the line that you remember from that movie.
All the white guilt.
So I really haven't thought about, honestly, like how it's going to end. But that's kind of where I'm at with it.
So who wins?
That's the thing. I don't know yet.
Who wins, Trevor?
I feel like everyone's just going to mass murder each other and everything's going to go to shit.
I think everything goes to shit, but then like the people that survive are like...
Like we shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah, they like rise up, I don't know, and they burn the fucking...
Yeah.
I don't know, the PCR like thermocycler machine to the ground, and then like fuck this.
Yeah.
Maybe we live in like a post.
But then it ends with one person who decides to take it anyway.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
it cuts to black.
Wow.
Shot it.
Damn, this is the.
And then it just
you know what this sounds like now? Is Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
This sounds like the rise.
It sounds like
Planet of the
it
Apes.
literally sounds like an amalgamation of like most sci-fi movies.
And like everyone else is eventually going to be inferior and die off, and eventually there will only be superpower humans, a la only apes in Planet of the Apes.
First of all, there's only one Allah, and he's.
Says the devout Muslim over here.
There's an episode, I don't know if you guys listen to them like after I edit them and put them out, but there's
Oh, I definitely do.
the one where you're like, I think it's the first episode where you're like, this is what my childhood was like, and it's just this like long like prayer at a mosque. It's like, ha. Anyway,
I love using my religion for or not even whatever, you know what I mean. my
Your
culture,
faith,
my
Sheema,
faith
your
for
faith.
comedy. Anyways,
We know you're strong with your faith.
well,
Muhammad
that was
is a
my
special
screenplay.
place.
Oh my god, shut up.
Kaaba.
Thought you were trying to say kebab.
That's damn. That would have been funnier. Okay.
All right.
yeah.
So that was my screenplay idea, guys.
Yeah. I think at the end when it cuts to black, it should just say, "We live in a society."
Just we live in a society.
Yeah.
Period. And then like people like all of the pundits get to go off and interpret that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No,
the
not even say we
pieces
live in,
coming
just
from
literally just say society.
Huffington Post
Yeah.
saying,
Only
like,
just say
This
society.
says a lot about our society.
just like we live
No.
in a society. Period.
No, actually,
On screen and then credits roll.
it doesn't.
Like how many Huffington Post pieces are you gonna see? Okay. So let's discuss why we're here, because I know that
Speaking of living in a society,
Sheema has a whole lot of thoughts.
I have so
about
many thoughts about this movie.
All I have are negative thoughts.
I would assume Trevor and I do too.
I've been dying to talk about this.
The movie is the Joker, and I would like to kick things off by just saying that I think I am the real Joker.
Oh my god, shut up. Okay.
For
So
thinking that Kanye would release his album on time. I feel like I have clown makeup on my face,
the
and
meme.
that Jesus is King needs to be released right now. This is unbearable. I hate myself. I'm not even mad at him. It makes me hate myself.
Yeah, we hate you
You're a
too.
fool. You're a fool in man's clothes.
So the movie.
Moving on.
So, I feel like we need to talk a little bit about just like the conception of the movie and like why it was made and kind of backstory. And I feel like you can't talk about this Joker with, of course, mentioning past Jokers, right? So, major movie Jokers were Jack Nicholson. I mean, you had Caesar Romero. Caesar Romero from like the 1960s. Caesar Romero.
Where is he? Rachel.
Is that what Caesar Milan sounds like?
Dog Weathborough.
Okay, so
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill is the animated.
Low key did the animated Joker.
Yeah, it wasn't even low key. I feel
my
like
boy
everyone
Luke.
knows. So Mark Hamill animated. Then you had who was
Everyone's
it?
favorite Jared Leto.
Jared Leto, you know, the goat. And then of course Heath. I mean, everyone knows.
Okay,
Heath.
rank 'em.
So
Rank them.
no, I'm not gonna
Yes.
wait. No, let me talk. So here's what I want to mention. So right now, I think it's a pretty majority consensus that hands down Heath Ledger's Joker is by far the best Joker. I mean, you'll have your people who are gonna be like purists or whatever and be like no, but most people would agree. Mm-hmm. Am I right? So I feel like any performance after his is bound to fail, right? Because he set such a high bar, and so like any performance that comes after his has to do that times 100 in order to be equal or above what he accomplished. So all I can say right now is that regardless of what your opinion was on this movie, regardless of what you thought about its message or its plot or whatever, cinematography, whatever it is, you cannot deny that his performance in this film, Joaquin Phoenix's performance in the film, is one of the best performances of the year, if not of the past 5 years in cinema.
I think that's fair. I thought Joaquin Phoenix was fucking baller in this movie.
For this movie to come out and get the reception that he did, Homeboy got an 8-minute standing ovation at the Toronto International Film Festival. And he deserves every fucking minute of that.
Yeah.
What he was able to do.
He was probably the best part of the movie. He was awesome in that movie. And also,
his dedication to like his craft is insane.
Yeah. Also, like Joker shoes are like some big ass shoes to fill.
Literally and
literally. Yeah. But no, I think part of the reason is like whoever's the Joker right after Heath Ledger, like that's just such a like.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, so it's just like that. I mean, but like right after, so I think
that's why we like Jared Leto as a space.
Well, Jared Leto,
yeah,
okay.
Like, I think he like took a bullet.
But think about it this
he
way.
wasn't even that bad.
Let's say,
it's just a bad movie.
People say that, but let's just say, let's pretend we live in a universe. Let's say that Suicide Squad.
Pretend we live in a society.
Shut up.
We live in a society.
Let's say Suicide Squad never existed, and like Dark Knight came out, and then like right after this one came out. Not right after, but you know what I mean. Like let's say around the time Suicide Squad came out. Would you think people would say the same thing about Joaquin Phoenix's performance, like they did about?
I think it'd be somewhere in the middle, but I think it would be close to. He would get a lot more shit. And
I disagree.
People wouldn't like him as much.
I disagree.
I think he would be. I think he's like objectively better than Jared Leto's Joker, but I think that would like play into it of like how are you supposed to like fill these shoes?
So. But that's the thing. So here I've been I mean, you guys probably feel more strongly one way or the other. I personally have been really grappling like which one I actually prefer. Whether it was Joaquin's or Heath's, because they come really close for me now. And I didn't honestly going into it, I wasn't anticipating that. I'm like, okay, nothing's gonna top him. But like I came out of that movie, I'm like, holy shit.
Some thoughts. We were discussing earlier about how it's really impossible to compare things that don't necessarily stack up equivalently in terms of message, the way it was intended, and stats or anything else. It's tough to make those arguments. It's fun to make those arguments, though. Yeah. So we should.
That's what I'm
now,
saying.
that said, it is important to acknowledge, I suppose, in this conversation that Heath Ledger's Joker was in the environment of a Christopher Nolan series that was, distinct, dark, but sort of, I would argue grounded in reality, yet in its own superhero universe. Jared Leto's Joker was clearly intentionally made to be part of the larger DC universe and put into a bad movie. And then
it was like comic book.
Exactly. It was the comic books, MCU style sort of DC current whatever bullshit.
Which I realize every time DC tries to do that, it fails. Every time it's played into its... Yeah, okay, that, but critically, I don't think that's a great movie.
Fair enough. But, and then this Joker is entirely different.
Sheema is a misogynist.
Oh man, we could dive into that. And then this Joker is definitely its own standalone, intended to make a critique of how someone like this character could actually exist in the real world as we know it today. So they're very different messages, very different characters in all three movies.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All that said, fuck yeah, we should be comparing them. And yeah, I would say that Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix are the two top, and I think that it's close. And I think the people that are trying to push it down are just huge fanboys of the original movie and not giving this one as much credit.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Because this one ages real well. It's like you were saying before, like when you think about it, it gets better over time. Mm-hmm. So who's the top?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I'm really struggling with that.
Gonna make you pick, but I'll go to Trevor first.
I liked this movie. Joaquin Phoenix was great in this movie. Super good. I think you're right. It ages well. I think you're right that the more you think about it, the better it is. But like Heath Ledger Joker, I think is like clearly like, I don't know, like, because when you watch The Dark Knight, like he steals the fucking show.
He does.
Like, and it's already like already one of the like biggest. It's like probably the best superhero movie of all time. Like certainly a contender for it, and like it was just such a huge film, and he like steals the show in that film, and he's so like charismatic and so like 4 steps ahead of you that like when he walks into the room, you're just like, oh fuck, like your eyes are just like on him. And like when he says stuff, like when he makes commentary about society, it's actually like very like, oh shit.
So here's my thing about this is at this point we're not discussing, because when I say who's a better when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking who's a better performer, whose performance ability is stronger, right? Mm-hmm. And I know we had the whole thing about you can't compare two really great people, but we're doing it.
That's a side note.
That's a side
note. We're fucking doing it.
So at this point, what you're saying is you're comparing a character versus another character. And that is not that's not gonna be, you can't take into account the actor in that, because the actor's not the character, you know what I mean? The character is, it does.
Like the biggest part.
No, of course, I agree. But I'm saying the actual characteristics and personality and motives of that character doesn't come from the actor. It comes from a script. It comes from a writer. So those qualities of his 4 steps ahead, his motivations, all of that, the shit he says about society, that's the Joker character that was written. Heath Ledger said those lines and those things, but that inherently is the character. Whereas I feel like that's why you can't compare it that way, because Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was written with completely different motivations and personality traits, and you know what I mean? And so I feel like to compare them that way, then you're just saying which Joker character you prefer, which origin story, which backstory you prefer, not necessarily which actor did a better job. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, but if the question was which actor is more skilled in like the trade of acting, then my answer would be like a toss-up. But that's not the question you asked. You asked like, do you like Heath Ledger's Joker better or
I guess like I said it like that, but I meant it the way I'm saying it.
But like the way I was answering it is like it's a matter of the character, how the character's written, and it's a matter of how the actor portrays it. It's like a combination.
So clearly Trevor's on Heath Ledger as number one. Sheema, who you got?
It sounds like walking. If you
no, I'm not. I mean, I know I'm defending him a lot, but I honestly do think Heath Ledger's Joker is fucking insane.
Yeah. But
I'm not
downplaying
that.
Yeah, if you say like, oh, I either like these things equally or I like this one more, and I can't tell, then you like that one more.
What? No, that's not necessarily true.
Because
Sheema pick.
Yeah.
Why are you pressuring me? I don't know why I have to make this decision right now. I think. Oh fuck! I don't know.
Fine, then I'll do it.
You pick, yeah.
Heath Ledger's character was written with a certain mystique and mysteriousness about it, in that you didn't know everything about it. You didn't know his past. That made him creepier.
And I would argue he was also the first to like take the Joker in that direction, because all the previous Jokers had been like
Goofy,
total, like
kind of like
cartoonish
cartoonish,
goofballs, either literally cartoon or like when Jack Nicholson is like, I'm the Joker, or like Mark Hamill, but like
he made it real.
He was the first one to come in and be like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, I'm the fucking Joker, you know.
However, I believe that the Joker task in this newest movie was harder. It was to sort of contextualize how someone would end up this way, and they managed to sell it, which for me, as a skeptic of superhero movies that are not Star Wars related, is a huge tall order, and I totally was into it.
You know what I really appreciated about this Joker in particular was you didn't know whether or not it was okay to empathize with him the whole time.
Yeah.
Like you felt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was so, the complexity of that, the way that was written to me was really impressive. The fact that you couldn't decide if you liked this guy. I mean, even if you empathize with him, you felt guilty about it, or maybe you didn't. But then that's the kind of the beauty of it, is like everyone came out of it having a completely different reaction to him and his character. Whereas I feel like everyone came out of the like Heath Ledger's Joker and they all were like, oh, he was like crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but there was no more thought about it. It was like, oh, he was really cool and he was crazy. Whereas like his character is so polarizing, Joaquin's.
The depth of the Heath Ledger Joker comes in the what you don't know about him and how it's always 2 steps ahead.
But
the depth
you
of
can't.
This Joker is the realism of it, the fact that you don't know whether you feel bad for him or you're angry at him, and the polarization of those facts.
Yeah.
So
and then the thing
I would
is, like,
actually say I prefer Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
I agree. I think I'm starting to realize that
but
too.
I think it's like a knife's edge.
Yeah, for sure.
So I agree, sort of. I agree that I like that, and that was one of the main draws for the movie for me, is like seeing a villain, but like seeing how they, like, you sympathize with them at first and stuff, like in like a Breaking Bad sort of way. But I guess where I was like a little disappointed is I went in with like high hopes of like, oh, this is gonna really make me think, and like I'm really gonna be conflicted, and I didn't feel as conflicted as I was like hoping to going into it. Watching it, I was like, yeah, I sympathize with him a little bit, but like mostly, I don't know. Like I wanted to sympathize with him more than I actually did.
So I'm gonna blow your fucking mind right now.
Yeah.
So I saw this it's been floating around the internet, like on Reddit and stuff. And someone took these screenshots of certain scenes with like where there's like a clock, and it always is the same time. So there's a theory that the whole sequence of events in the movie was all in his head. Which, if you think about it,
the ending in the insane asylum, or whatever,
if you like think about it, if he could have created that whole relationship with that girl in his head, why couldn't he have imagined everything else?
Yeah,
you know,
right? Yeah, which I found to be obvious.
And he's been off his meds because they cut the funding for his.
The girl being fake.
The girl being fake.
I
think it was obvious, but also it surprised me, which I think like that's my favorite kind of surprise, is when like it happens and you're like, oh shit, that was so obvious. I like totally should have seen that coming, but like I actually didn't.
I'm not even trying to be pretentious about it.
No. I think it's
because because the reason I love the movie Inception so much is because they give you the sort of obvious, this is you're in the dream, and then like the next one outside of it is the one you didn't see coming, or you don't even get a clear explanation as to why, is that the actual dream state or not. This movie does something similar. The girl is fake, and you could maybe see it coming, but then you don't know whether the whole movie is real or not. Yeah, it's completely open-ended and it's plausible, and I love that about it.
Yeah, I will say
which is now a jumping-off point of the character, but
well, let's wrap up that character.
Yeah. Were there more thoughts? No.
Not.
All I have are negative thoughts.
So one of my favorite parts was the girl in the apartment, and just when she's like, "You're Arthur, right? Like you live down the hall." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And like looking back, like I guess it was kind of obvious, but I don't know. Like took me by surprise, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was also like really sad. I was like, "Oh, like fuck!" Like I was really like. I guess that's when I sympathized with him the most. I was like,
I knew some shit was weird because it was the first time. It was the minute he like went in after he shot the guys on the subway, and then he like got on he like went inside of his apartment, and then immediately she opened the door and he started like making out with her in like full ass clown makeup, and I'm like, I don't know if like this chick would just be chill with this.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember thinking that was weird. And I remember thinking from the beginning, like, oh, it's weird that this like kind of
creepy
like,
dude,
like loser-ass guy, and like this like very beautiful woman from down the hall, like is very excited about hanging out with him, and like, oh, I like having such a great time with you, man. I remember thinking like that, but that actually, before I realized that was all in his head, that made me like sympathize with him less, because I'm like, what are you talking about? Your life sucks. Like this fucking beautiful woman wants to hang out with you. Like, I don't know. But like now looking back at it, I'm like, okay, I guess like your life is really sad.
So it kind of brings up a point though of like the whole. There's been a lot of controversy about this movie, obviously, saying that it kind of creates this kind of sap story for those like incel, alt-right, Meninist kind of, mentality of that, like, I deserve everything even though I'm like a piece of shit human being. And I don't know, there's been a lot of discussion about this, so I'd like to get your thoughts as to what, if you think it does do.
This is kind of interestingly similar to when we were talking about Us. How there's like so many, like, there are so many layers that you can unpeel and so many takes you could necessarily have and not manufacture but derive from the material itself. And I mean by that where we just talked about how maybe this would be sympathy for an incel, whereas a totally opposite, not opposing, but maybe concurrent, another way you could look at it would be this is a movie that explains that the system is making people that way because look how abandoned he was by social services.
And that's what I agree with. That's so what I took from it.
You can take both of those from it. I think it's kind of really interesting in that way. But yeah, so the incel thing.
So I'm saying like that's what I went into that movie and I watched it, and that's what the message I took from it. That it's like more of a social commentary about like how society fails these types of people, and that is the result of that, inequity in the system, whatever. But then you have those people who think it's basically just trying to pander to that, incel type population where they are white dudes who think that they're, shit don't stink.
What do you think, Trevor?
I don't think it's automatically bad I think it's even like good to sympathize with like losers, I guess. Like people, like I don't think there's anything wrong with sympathizing with just like people who have like shitty lives, like dudes who like can't get a girlfriend, shit like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with sympathizing. I think they like deserve our sympathy, but that doesn't mean like that excuses any of their bad behavior or like that makes it a woman's fault for them not like. You can have one like without the other,
Yeah.
So, like, you can feel bad for them, but, like, you also can't be a creep to these women, and, like, you shouldn't...
I also think that...
Kill people, yeah.
Well, my whole issue is, like, I hate this... I hate when people try to pin... I mean, we kind of talked about this the other day, but I hate when people try to pin, like, a huge societal issue, like, real societal issue, on a fucking movie, or, like, a game, or, like, some other type of thing like that. Because clearly it's, like, the media is trying to detract from the fact that it's like actual systemic things that are wrong that are causing these problems, but they're trying to simplify it and make it, palatable to the public and saying like, oh, it's movies like this that like, make people crazy. Yeah. And that's just a cop out, and I hate that. It
could be like the other thing I have it like I guess like my instinct is to be the sort of like social libertarian of like, even if this movie is like bad and it makes like people say it makes them do crazy shit, it's like that doesn't mean that like why can't the rest of us enjoy it kind of thing. Like the dude who killed John Lennon did it because he read Catcher in the Rye, and it's like, okay, well that doesn't mean like none of us are allowed to read it. Like, I think it's like I don't know. So
also,
like
you could say that like how many people have religion, like how many people have like done violent shit and then act of a religion.
Yeah, does it mean like Salinger's the devil or something like that? Like it's kind of
I don't know. By that logic, cancel every fucking religion. Like it's just it's
which like we could do.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I think
it's
it's just such a cop-out to do that.
Trevor's opinions on the Lord are not.
And here's another thing.
This podcast.
Here's another thing. Even if the Joker wasn't a movie, you know incels are gonna find some other way to fucking validate their feelings, regardless if it's that they're gonna find another form of it.
If you are the kind of person who's gonna watch the Joker movie and then that
be
makes you
by it,
rape and kill people, it's like you probably weren't.
You probably could do that anyway at some point.
I thought the movie was good, but like, damn, like I've never seen a movie that good that made me want to like suddenly like turn into a horrible person.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah.
I guess we all agree on that. There's not much more to discuss.
For the most part, yeah.
Do you have an opposing opinion?
No, I find it interesting what Trevor just said about like they were going to do that anyway, because that's a very similar argument that people on the right use about guns.
And that's true, but there's good data against that. And then B, like if you don't have a gun, like what's the next best weapon? Like a knife? Like you can kill. If you're like a fucking gangster, you can kill like 3 people in a minute with a knife. You can kill like 45 people in a minute with a gun. So it's just a matter of like, it actually limits those people. And then the other thing is, but even though it feels like, to me, it feels like, okay, if I was going to kill someone, it wouldn't matter if I have a gun right next to me or if I'm able to just go get a gun like some other way. Like it shouldn't matter, but then like in the statistics, it like pans out that it does matter because America has like a 4 times higher homicide rate compared to like the UK.
Yeah.
So it's like, it feels like it shouldn't matter, but people who are killing people are usually not in their right minds, so it usually matters if there's like a gun nearby.
Yeah.
No, totally.
I think you can walk and eat at the same time. I think it's possible for, there to be people that are predisposed to this kind of, unfortunate violence that would, go about doing whatever they would do despite the movie, and I think that there's a huge media component like Sheema was saying. I also think it's possible for them to see something like this and feel empowered and emboldened.
Yeah.
So I think, both can be concurrently true.
And I think that's the problem is I can't just like with one sentence say exactly like where I feel comfortable and where you should draw the line, because I think like there is a spot where you have to draw the line. Like I'm not comfortable with there being like books or videos out there of like just full on, like written and produced by like full on Nazis, where it's just like, this is why we should commit genocide and stuff. Like, I think like that is taking freedom of speech too far. So it's like we have to draw the line somewhere, but
where's the line?
But it's like, it's like, where is the line? Like at what point is it like, okay, this is no longer just you expressing yourself and maybe hurting other people. This is like a full on public safety issue. So I don't know.
But I guess like in the case of this, where it's like very clearly not that message.
Yeah.
And people are still trying to make it seem like it's,
Yeah, I think to say this is like...
This is not the line. That's what I'm saying. This is before the line.
On the good side of the line, I think.
Regardless of where you think the line is, it's it's not there.
We're pretty cool.
We're all pretty cool.
It's all good.
So moving forward, rate the movie.
Oh, okay. I think I'm gonna give it like... Wait, I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. You guys go first.
So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Oh shit, dude, that's low.
I liked it, but I went into it like kind of hoping for, and it set itself up. First of all, the trailer was amazing. So the trailer hypes it up like it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Smile, though your heart is breaking.
That song
Smile,
was
even though
perfect.
It's aching.
That was one of the better. I mean, like I'm a huge music guy for this kind of thing, for scoring. And
you like the Charlie Chaplin?
Anyways, it was a perfect fit. That one specific track, I thought the music in the movie was mediocre.
I thought the soundtrack was great.
That was mediocre, but that particular track was incredible.
See, it's interesting you say that.
I'm glad they used it in the movie too, and not just the trailer.
So here's another thing I loved about this movie, and I'm gonna, while we're talking about it, I'm gonna give my rating. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Give it a 9 out of 10. Speaking of the soundtrack, this is what I love about this movie. And this is why I've come to appreciate it more the more that I've sat with it, is I look at it, I've been like looking at it through the lens of the filmmaker, and I realize like how intentional every aspect of that movie was, down to like the cinematography of it, the colors they used, the style.
I thought
that
the
it was
coloring was really
filmed.
cool. That it was like it was like bright and like definitely like clowny kind
but
of
like
colors,
dark at the same time.
But like darkened down. Yeah.
And like the the angles, everything, down to the soundtrack, down to the music of it. And I was like kind of researching the movie after I watched it, and the director Todd Phillips was talking about how this movie kind of was different in the sense that the soundtrack was written based on the screenplay, not after the movie was like shot. And so usually that's like not a typical thing. Usually the music comes after they like shoot the movie, and they fit the music into the movie. Yeah. Rather, they did a reverse thing where they had the movie fit into the music. So what Todd Phillips would do is like on the set, he would play the soundtrack like as like the day was going, and he said he wanted it to like infect the set, so that like the actors and everyone involved is like in this mindset of this like in the spirit of this movie. So it's almost like the music guided, I think, the movie rather than the other way around. Like how it usually
I love
goes.
that as an idea. It didn't work for me.
It really worked for me.
I thought they could have used a more proper scoring.
I thought it was great. I thought it fit the movie perfectly. I think that score fits this film exactly how it should. I think it's that perfect like hint of like melodrama that is like keeps you on your edge just like a little bit, It just I feel like the representation of his character.
If there was more proper scoring and less soundtrack, I'd probably agree with you.
But he's a musical character, so that's another thing. Like his character is like this musical character.
Well, if we're
like
gonna go with what a character was based on, this movie would be way off the rails, right? I mean, they took it in a way different direction here.
Well, I'm saying like he's always dancing, like he's always doing these like kind of whimsical things, and I feel like it needed that kind of like major musical component because that's representative of his character.
I suppose. Agree to disagree.
I will say I loved when they're playing the Hey song and he's like going down the stairs.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Like I thought because like you see that in the trailer and I thought it was gonna be like maybe like that Smile song or some like deeper like more tragic song. Right. But I love how he's just like coming in and he's like nah nah nah. I just fucking love that.
Yeah. Part. See that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that part too.
I like that part.
Why others might.
Yeah.
So you gave it.
I gave it 7.5. I liked a lot of things about it. Like the whole premise of it, I thought was good. I thought the storyline was pretty good. Joaquin Phoenix obviously was great. I love the Hey song. I thought there were like a couple good lines in there, like when he's talking to his therapist like later in the movie, and he's like, "All I have are negative thoughts." Like, what are you fucking talking? I don't know. I thought that was great. The scene where he stabs that guy's eye out.
Oh, that was so cool.
And then,
oh my God.
Yeah. Also,
the scene with the little person.
Yeah, trying to get out of the door
was amazing.
Yeah, I love when he's like walking by, and then like the Joker's like, bah!
Yeah, I love that part.
That's great. Also, he looks like way creepier
just in the white.
When he's just in the white.
So they did that. I was reading about that, and they said that he, while they were in the makeup chair and he was like doing that, he's like Joaquin Phoenix was like, I feel like we need a scene of just me in the white makeup only because I feel like it's so much like creepier and scarier. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, he's just like his improvisation, his like, he's just such a
he's a brilliant actor.
Yeah. And I think once
the scene when they're in the bathroom and he starts dancing, that wasn't scripted. He wasn't supposed to dance in that scene. He was just supposed to go in there and like look at himself in the mirror and then be dramatic music, and then he leaves, cuts to a different scene. He told Todd Phillips like, I feel like I need to dance in this scene because I feel like that would make sense. That's what he would do, and then they kept it. It was like amazing.
But yeah,
I would give it an 8.5.
So you go in between me and Trevor?
I always do. I would say Trevor just gave me a very knowing look. I would say that for me it was the soundtrack that was holding it back a little bit. It was a really, really brilliant movie. I loved it.
So if the soundtrack was great, if it was to your liking, you would have given it a 9?
I would say if they had scored it properly, like done an actual proper score, I would have given it a 9.5.
So it drops it down a whole point for you?
For me, music's a big deal.
You thought it was that bad, though?
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
It does. It gave it kind of like a
for a movie this serious with the tone they were taking. I thought it was weird.
Dude? I've been listening to the soundtrack every day since it came out. I've been like, it is not like it's very like melodrama sound. Like it's like very.
They chose a few too many interjections of like soundtrack music for my liking. Specifically the stairs moment was my least favorite, actually.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I like that part.
I thought that was.
I just love it because I love the Hey song.
It was like a palate cleanser. I kind of liked it.
If that scene had been like up, like 20 seconds and had an actual score behind it, I thought it would have been like way more intense. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I guess it comes back to comparing it to Heath Ledger's when we had Hans Zimmer's intensity behind it. That was.
But Hans Zimmer can't do like everything.
That's true. but that was half of that Joker for me. It's scoring is a big deal for me. So I found that did hold it back a bit. I thought the story is incredible. It actually brought me into a movie or to a world where this person could exist, which is insane. A person could dress up in clown makeup and kill people and be taken seriously. Yeah, and I'm taking it seriously. So. As someone who doesn't even like superhero movies. So, like, it was pretty damn good.
It's a great movie for people who don't like superhero movies, actually.
It's pretty damn good. Yeah, if you're sick of the MCU or the other, world-building superhero genre movies and you just want to see something good about how someone could end up being a psycho killer clown, but grounded in reality, this is the movie for you.
I will say one thing that I also liked about it was he was a little more just crazy than I expected, which I appreciated, because I was worried I was going to see a movie where it's like a totally normal dude, and then his all this bad stuff happens to him, and he just goes crazy. And it's like I feel like that's such an easy story to tell, and it's been like kind of told like 100 times, and it's like not as really like believable or like realistic. Whereas I like this, like at the beginning, he's like pretty mentally unstable, and then he just continues his downward trend that he's been having, and like some bad things happen to him, but he's also mostly just off his meds, and like it's just, I don't know, it made it more believable for me and less like cartoonish.
Yeah, I think the thing that I was most taken aback by was how I thought he was kind of a clown daddy.
Classic Sheema. Thirst is real.
Dude, if this movie's also done anything for me, it's just like reawakened my entire thirst trap for Joaquin Phoenix.
I thought you were going to say for clowns.
I mean, Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger was always a thirst trap. And like, so was Joaquin. I like grew up around Gladiator and I was like really into it, and I didn't feel like I fully understood why, but now I do. Because it's like literally just because of him. And then, like, I was like, I should like Maximus Aurelius, but like Commodus, you know what I mean? And then, so now it's just like, oh my god, it like reawakened all of that for me. Anyways, it was a nice little.
Can we also talk about that scene where he's on the show? Where he's on the set.
Oh, and he like shoots.
And he shoots De Niro. That was amazing.
You know what was really cool about De Niro being in this movie is that he's
the perfect actor. He's just good at everything. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, and
So it's cool that he was in this because a lot of the movie's influence was like Taxi Driver, and the Last King of Comedy. I think it was. They're like two Scorsese movies from like the 70s, and like obviously Robert De Niro was in Taxi Driver, and it's a very kind of like similar story. It's like kind of like psychopath, everyday, regular dude.
Yeah. I will say, maybe I'm not giving the movie enough credit, because I was saying it didn't make me think that much, but I guess it did. I did appreciate that the Maurice character, or whatever.
Murray?
Yeah.
Murray!
Yeah, I like that he was kind of a dick, but not a huge dick.
So even he was complex in that way.
Yeah, and so I liked that because
right.
they could have made him just like this innocent guy that the Joker just kills. that wouldn't have made any sense. But they also could have taken the really easy route of just
Made
making
him a
just,
huge
like,
dick.
Yeah, he like
Right.
takes the Joker out there and he's like, "Wow, Joker, you're a little pussy bitch,"
Yeah.
and like, which is like a total asshole.
No, they actually made him a character.
Yeah, they actually made him a character, which is nice because I think that's also more reflective of how we treat mentally ill people in our society. Because like, even though we feel like this sometimes, like, we're not just always dicks all the time to people with mental illness.
Yeah.
Like, there are systems in place, and like there are people that are really nice to them, and most of us are like pretty nice to them sometimes, but like obviously not nice enough. Like, obviously we aren't doing enough. Obviously Murray was like kind of a dick to him. So I like that it like walked that like real life sort of complexity line of like, you don't have to be like a total like d-bag jerk that no one wants to hang out with.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be that bad to like do damage to someone else, you know?
Right.
Totally.
I don't know.
Here's a question. Of the three of us, which one of us
Would be the Joker?
Would be him.
Me for sure.
That's what
I would
everyone
for
says.
Sure, no, I would for sure be the Joker.
Why would you be the
Why
Joker?
would you want to be?
No, I'm not saying why.
The
No,
way you say that's like you wanted to be
because
one
it's
of
like a
us.
cool
It's like a
character.
movie. No, I
yeah,
get it.
it's literally
I get
like.
it.
Okay, I for one am very cool not being the Joker. Okay.
No, I
I'll
would want. No, I'm not just getting what I wanted. If I wanted to be a Joker, I would want to be Heath Ledger Joker.
I'll be Thomas Wayne.
Oh, yeah. Also, Thomas Wayne, definitely a d-bag.
Great character.
Even though he dies.
Yeah, I did. I also liked how it like tied back into like the Batman universe.
Yeah.
I actually
was pretty-
didn't like that.
I
thought
feel
it
like
was
you
right
can't.
enough. If it did it more, I would have been mad. I like how
found
it dipped in.
the ending there where they killed the parents
Yeah.
to be entirely unnecessary.
Okay,
if
I'll
they
do
had
that.
taken that out and it was just him going up to like Bruce Wayne as a kid in that one scene, I would have been like, all right, it's a nod.
I
But
will.
the ending was unnecessary.
I will give. I've been back and forth on that ending. Everything else I thought was great. How they dipped in and out. And it wasn't
Agreed.
just
Like with Thomas Wayne,
the
I liked
ending.
that.
I like
ending
the time.
I have mixed feelings about it. I have really mixed feelings about it.
So I mean, like, why? It's a fucking Batman character. I don't think you have to tie it into the fucking universe.
Yeah,
whole
and it was for the most part very outside the Batman sort of story. Also, okay, here's something. Was he Bruce Wayne's half brother?
Yeah, we don't know.
I think it's left to us not knowing. But I've heard people talk about,
But I like
oh,
that.
he definitely wasn't, or like, oh, he definitely was. I think it's left up to.
It's
like,
definitely
we don't know.
left to be obscure.
Okay.
Um,
I like that about that whole
Yeah.
subplot. Like,
So
Yeah,
I
that's
really
a
hope.
very cool
I
song.
really hope. So they said when this movie came out that they're not like for sure like sequel. It will not happen. This movie was meant to spark a whole series of DC
Shootings,
films.
oh.
Yikes.
A bunch of DC movies that are these like standalone character
Remember, guys,
study. type
Trevor's the
movies.
one who said he's the Joker, and now he's saying it's gonna spark.
I'm making a good Joker. I'm not gonna kill anybody, but
Yeah,
If anyone-
a
if anyone-
young
Say that
white
now.
male, go
just
onto
saying,
the
if
street
any-
and say, "Hey guys, I'd be a great Joker."
yeah, I'm just saying if anyone was gonna go nuts, it'd probably be me.
You think
Yeah,
so?
I'm looking
think
at
so.
you right now, and I'm thinking
Okay.
maybe
Do you?
get
No,
somebody
no,
in
no.
here.
Who do you honestly think between the two of us? Who do you actually think would actually go nuts?
Trevor,
You
Yeah,
really
me.
think so?
Yeah, thanks.
big time, yes.
Yeah,
I disagree.
big time
man.
rush, dude.
You disagree? Defend yourself.
Who do you think it would be?
Or,
I think it
or
would be me.
offend
Oh,
yourself.
okay.
Go. You justify your opinion. Come on. Why
I
would
think
it
I
be
have
you?
way more violent tendencies than you do.
That's true. I know. I'd be a good
He
soft-spoken,
didn't,
quiet
he
dude
didn't have
that
violent
snaps into
tendencies. He was like a. He was.
Yeah, at the-
he was like weirdly afraid
At the
of people. He like that came
Dude, he,
out
like-
way
At
later.
the, at the
But
very beginning,
it was
when
there.
At the very beginning, when those kids like mug him, and
Yeah.
he like comes back,
just
and he's like,
lays
oh,
the-
those guys were animals, and he's like, no,
Right.
like they're just kids, like
Right.
yeah. I would be so.
No, he
pissed.
he
I'd be like-
developed it.
Yeah, that would. Like,
Well,
yeah.
probably because he's been used to acting that way.
Maybe we should have to test it. We should beat Trevor up a little bit and see if he fights
Yeah.
back.
Wait,
eventually.
I came across this
I
thing.
want to hear you justify you being the Joker now.
I'm not saying I'm gonna be the Joker. I
You
just think
very clearly wanted me to say it
I don't-
too.
no,
So
no.
why is it you?
I don't think I'm the Joker. I'm just saying if there's gonna be between
one
me
of
and
the
Trevor
two of you,
to have a tendency to like do some shit like that, I just honestly feel like it'd more be me.
and why?
Because I feel like I have, like I said, I have like more of the violent tendencies, and like the more like I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying that like more like more of a
I've never
crazy
seen you hit anything.
I'm not gonna like just do that. Doesn't mean I don't like want to hit things, you know?
You okay, Sheema? Do you want to talk?
No, it's fine.
You sure? This is a safe place.
Shut up. So no, I'm just saying that like I don't know. Now I just sound like crazy. Actually, I don't want to like hit.
I think the deeper question here is why do you want to be the Joker?
I don't want to. I'm not saying it's. I'm saying like I'm not. I don't want it. I don't want it.
You're my queen.
You're my queen. I don't want it.
So what'd you find?
I'm trying to find this this thing. It was like a kind of a thread about. It's kind of like this theory about how there was a lot of sexual undertones in the movie. Not just like the parts where he actually was doing sexual things, literally, but like, for example, every time. It was always a sexual kind of moment would always precede like whatever next violent act he was gonna do. So like I think before he after or like either before or right after. And so like for example after he does the subway shootings he like goes back and or at least like imagines that he's having sex with his like neighbor. Mm-hmm. And then before the eye stabbing shooting guy comes over, his TV's playing like a song that's like it's like about an innuendo about sex. Mm-hmm. And then right before he goes on the Murray show and shoots him in the head, he's like I didn't catch this part, but apparently some people on the thread said they caught it, that he is like subtly like jacking off under his pants right before he's about to go on.
Nice.
But is that
really is Trevor?
Like, so it's almost like he gets like a sexual thrill off of like whatever, I don't know, like violent act he's about to commit.
It doesn't really fit with the rest of his character, though.
That's what I'm saying. He's a fucking psycho, dude, or like he's insane. Like
I think it could fit.
I think
he's like.
I think the fact that he is clinically insane, he can be whatever the fuck he wants.
I suppose. I mean, like if we're gonna incorporate rapid,
Also,
and behavior
you know what
that, which would
you know what
sense.
we didn't talk about is the different laughs.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So he had his like pathological laugh, the one that was like he was like almost like he was in pain, that he would do when he was in like embarrassed or uncomfortable or sad situations. And then there was like the one where he would try to fit in with everyone else's laugh.
Yeah.
And like when he was at the comedy club. And then there's like the laugh of his like genuine laugh that he has at the very end of the movie. And when he's like in the asylum and like laughing, that's like him truly laughing at something. Because he turned his tragedy into a comedy. Isn't that so Shaw, dude? Like, you don't even know. And he came up with those laughs on his own. Cause it's fucking amazing.
I did actually, I like the concept of like him having
a neurological
that,
disorder.
like TBI and like, also our Real Talk resident neurologist, what are your thoughts on his laughing disorder?
On his quote pseudo-bulbar,
Yeah.
whatever they use to
Yeah.
justify it. As the resident neurologist here, I mean, I think it's 100% true and based in fact, so.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
It sounds like you don't feel that way.
Who knows? I would assume that they did their research, but I mean, to say that, he has a neurological impairment, he only has a laugh, like, don't know about that.
Well, it might not just be the laugh, like, you could definitely have some like temporal lobe shit going on, like poor
I feel like that
planning
could
and
definitely be a
impulse
thing.
control
Well, it's a real thing because the way that he researched doing that was by watching YouTube videos of people who have it.
That's some quality grade A research that came up.
I'm just saying, like, there's what you think random ass people, like, what weird person's gonna go on YouTube and type in watch or like pseudo-bulbar palsy or whatever the fuck they call it, and then like upload a video of themselves.
I think we can all suspend our disbelief enough to get into this as a disorder.
Yeah, there you go. There's weird. There's that.
I believe it fully could be a thing. Like if Tourette's syndrome can be a thing, I fully believe pathological laughter could be a thing.
Yeah, there's that. What is it? Dyslexia.
For sure.
Like dyslexia without agraphia or whatever, where you can write but you can't read. Like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I actually have heard of that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can
The splenium lesion.
Yeah, or like blind sight. I don't know. There's crazier shit than laughing all the time.
It's interesting stuff.
Oh.
Well,
Do you guys have any other thoughts?
I feel like we talked about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd say we covered.
I think we did the best review of this movie that anyone's ever done in the history of reviewing this movie. And there's a shit ton of those out there right now.
I'm also really glad that we brought ourselves into it, because to me, that's what really matters.
What do you mean?
We have to circle back to us. Like, we're number one.
How did we make it about us?
Which one of us is the Joker?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I don't actually think I would be the Joker.
You sure about that? You seem pretty convinced before.
I don't know, am I? Oh, isn't that like a really Joker thing to say?
Dude, we totally live in a society. Right now.
Dude.
We live in a society.
I think that was the whole message of the movie. Like,
We
it's like, oh, society, dude, is so bad.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, it's
No, I think the message of it, honestly, like, if I'm taking my own, like, fangirlness out of it,
One sentence takeaways.
I'm just saying, if, like, the message, like, the whole society is, like, fucking over the people message, that was, like, pretty basic, and that was really shoved in your face, but the thing the thing that I really enjoyed more than that was the way you felt about him as a character. That, to me, added so much more complexity.
I would agree with that 100%.
Trevor, what's your takeaway?
100%. That, like, it had that message of, like, society sucks, and it's, like, really shitty to people with mental disorders, but it did kind of, like, hit us over the head with it. But, I thought it was fine. It was a good message. But I think more so what made the movie a thinker, it was, like, how much you identify with his character, how much blame you're putting on him versus, like, the people around him and stuff.
Yeah.
Clowns kill, man.
Yo, okay.
Remember when people would just dress up as clowns and then like scare people? We were all just okay with it for some reason.
Yeah, but then people would kill them. People would kill the clowns, and I remember being like upset by that because like, yo, I get the like.
You're doing it for the meme, yeah.
Like, but like, do they really deserve to die? Like, and I was alone in that. People would be like, yes, they deserve to die. They're fucking crazy.
Street justice.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Those
like,
clowns.
I could see myself like. Okay, see, I am the Joker. I could see myself like dressing up as a clown just to fuck with people, and then like if I get killed, like shit. Like if I get like arrested.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Like killing's like a dramatic.
Yeah, it's like
response.
Now I'm dead. Like.
I mean, unless it was trying to murder me, then I wouldn't try to murder the clown.
Look, I'm not trying to seek out a clown to kill it. But, like, maybe don't dress up as a clown and threaten people and expect there to not be repercussions.
Okay, if it was
that's actually kind of true, too.
If it was a
fuck? How is this a take?
Okay, no, if it was a full-on physical threat.
Defend them?
No, if it's a
we should jump to their defense.
If it's a full-on physical threat, like you're causing an imminent danger.
You know what we should do? We should lock up the people that they're threatening. That's really the.
I feel like you're making a straw man of my take. My take is if you're just walking around looking like a clown and you're just fucking with people.
Yeah, but I see your point, but I also see what he's saying. Like, if you are gonna go and fuck with people, then you should also expect people to fuck back at you.
So
yeah, that's what makes it fun.
If your take is murder is wrong, then yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
If your take is the clowns should not be fucked with at all, I strongly disagree.
You can fuck with the clowns. You can.
They should expect some consequences.
Yeah, you're allowed to escalate it at least as far as they have, maybe a little further. But you shouldn't like kill them unless you have like reason to fear for your.
Yeah, I agree. Murder's bad.
Yeah. I'm just saying, people every time one of them, because like a bunch of them died, and every time people would just be like, "Oh, that's what they get." And I'm like, no, they're like probably had families.
I see like both.
We should also lock up OJ.
I could have meant the way you said like they have families. I just imagine this guy who just like fucks around and wears like a killer clown mask and goes in front of cars and then cuts to him going inside of his house, and then takes his mask off. He's like, "Hey, honey,
How's your day, sweetie?
I had a rough day."
Oh, do not ask me about my day.
Just like, and then going to bed and hating his fucking life.
That's a screenplay idea for next week.
That literally, I think, was the premise of the Joker.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Who's that?
Trevor, defender of clowns.
Person who came up with the idea that murder should be.
Trevor, defender of clowns.
Yeah, you might want to write that one down. You know, murder is wrong. We should outlaw it.
You're Trevor.
It's gonna catch on.
You're Trevor, the defender of clowns. Jordan, the judger of clowns.
Oh yeah, judger.
And then I guess I would be the
You're clown neutral.
no, I'm like the thirster of clowns. Really. I don't know. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say about it?
I'd say that about sums it up.
All right. Catch you guys next week on.
Probably more likely like in a month.
Yeah, I don't know why I said next week.
Sing us out, Trevor.
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds
in the sky, you'll get by if you smile. Through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness high.